hear that? I hear that. I feel like Daredevil right now because I hear everything.
You could also feel things. Now your senses are even doubly tightened.
And my sentences.
Yes. You've lost your sight and half your hearing, so you now have 1.5 increased senses in all the rest of your body.
1.5 plus 1.5 is 5, minus 1 is 4, which is the episode number that we are recording. This is episode 4 of Theme Team Problems with Chad and Randy.
That's very true.
Yep, we're here, and we're here to discuss comic books, heroclix, mostly heroclix specifically. Preferably.
That's what I'm here for.
But we're here to talk about both those things that we love and bring it out into the world, I guess.
Yes.
Yeah, so today I wanted to talk about heroclix specifically. I want to talk about teams that we wish were better in the game. Because, like...
Yes.
Like Avengers and Justice League, they're always gonna have like amazing teams around them because there's so many figures and like they're famous, and each set, like if they're in it, they're gonna have a unique spin on each of those teams and stuff. Like,
true. And then there's smaller or lesser known or lesser understood teams.
And then like going off the Avengers, there's like subsections of those teams where heroclix represents them really good. The Mighty Avengers, the Secret Avengers, the
West Coast Avengers.
Before, you know, when it was like different keywords for those, but now it's like all under the Avengers banner with the ATAs.
Yes.
So, you know, but like some characters aren't as lucky, aren't as fortunate to have good teams based like that. Maybe they're smaller teams, just lesser known. Less cared about. Even if they get a lot of time in a set, they might not, you know, get as good of representation as they can. I'm thinking like Secret Six.
Yeah.
They had a whole sub-theme in Joker's Wild.
Actually, I think Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls.
Alright, probably. She was a team member for a while. But... yeah, that sub-theme wasn't as good. Like, I remember Jeanette, she finally came out, and she was not as good as, like...
Yeah, she could have been a lot better.
Yeah, especially after the whole campaign to get her into clicks.
Yeah.
I wonder if anyone... I know personally helped advocate for that.
I don't know if, you know, several times tweeting at Gail Simone and having her retweet the campaign for a fan vote for Jeanette to be made into heroclix a few years ago actually helped. I mean, it didn't because she didn't get voted, but
I feel on the Tumblrverse especially, it blew up, and I just think people didn't realize you had to vote subsequently more times than the first time.
Yeah, probably.
Because I feel like she did get in past that first round.
I think she got 2 more rounds after the initial thing. Because I remember retweeting it, reposting it again when she got into the next round.
So some people might not know about how that team, the fan vote works. But can you explain that a little bit? How
they get like a list of 12, I believe, characters, give or take, 12 to 16 characters that have not been clicked in a while, a little lesser known. You know, they might have been pieces that either were never made or haven't been made in like 4 or 5 years. So I think there was never a Jeanette. There was a Catman that was from Origins, and at that point that was like 6 years old.
And that's at that point.
At that point. So every so often they'll have a fan vote. They're like, okay, which piece do you really, really want to get made? And I believe in most cases, within years of the vote happening, most of the top tier or most of the options that were set before the fans eventually got made into pieces or remade into pieces. I think right now their success rate of actually making those pieces is at like 70%.
A good amount of them have been made.
Yeah, I know there was a list that was put out there about a year ago, I think right after they finally made Jeanette into a piece in Harley Quinn and the Gotham Girls, and they remade Catman.
Well, but yeah, we for sure got... Well, the Secret Six became a sub-theme.
Yeah. So. Which I enjoyed, because I absolutely love that team. And before then, my closest approximation to a Jeanette was the Silver Banshee from the Superman set.
The rare, I think.
I believe so, yeah. Like, it's not an exact match, but she's supposed to be a Banshee, but she doesn't, look like Silver Banshee. So that was my closest approximation to have that character on that team, just without the official keyword.
It's not a very good one-on-one, just because the way she uses her powers in Secret Six is very, it's very muted.
She's more support. She, I think, does a lot more physical things,
a lot of charge,
and then doesn't use her powers. Those powers.
Silver Banshee.
Yeah. She doesn't use her Banshee powers as often, like very, very rarely. To where I think it was a couple of arcs after being introduced to her that we even found out that she was a Banshee.
Well, I think she just didn't use them for a long time. The first time the most eventful time she used it was against Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Which was my favorite fucking issue of that run.
That was really, really good when they crossed paths, yes. Just the image of Ragdoll trying on her boots. I was like, yeah, I'm alright with that.
I just loved... It was such a one-sided fight.
Yeah, it was.
Like, Jeanette was getting her ass handed to her, and she was kind of the brick of that team for a while.
Yeah, she was.
And so her losing that hard and fucking being so pissed off about it.
But not giving up.
No, she didn't give up. She was so angry and hated
that she lost.
But she hated the Amazons, right? Didn't she?
I think there was that kind of animosity, right? Yeah,
because she felt like they didn't do anything for her or something like that when she was in trouble.
Because I think the whole thing behind Banshees are like they're scorned women, and either they had an actual history or it was that you're fine alone on your island while women are suffering in the real world.
Yeah. Then she fucking Banshee screamed at Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
So good. Okay.
So yeah, we have a Jeanette click now.
Sort of because of you.
Sort of. I mean...
Because you added Simone.
I wouldn't say I had a hand in it, but I definitely had a pinky in it.
Well, because you made it very...
I helped
put it out
get
into
the word...
ether.
Yeah, I helped get the word out, which got the word out more. And I'm like, well, fans of her, which I am also, might... care a little bit enough to be like, oh, maybe I don't know this thing, but maybe I'll throw a vote in.
You made a very long post about it.
I did. I was very passionate.
It was surprisingly long and like insightful and written well, and fucking Gail Simone reblogged it.
Yes.
And like, I thought that was a pretty big deal. And let's say it did help. It didn't super work out because
it didn't eventually get her to be made into a piece for that fan vote.
No, but I mean like. Just in the sense that the figure was underwhelming.
Yeah, even when it did come out of like there could be a better representation of her.
Yeah, it could have also have been the timing because that's when the format of heroclix was starting to change.
Yeah, they changed their point values. They changed how they were doing things. There were a lot of low point valued pieces, and now they're sort of bouncing back to where okay, maybe we can not have everything at 50 points, and we can have something between 100 and 200 again, or 250 or 350.
Yeah, it's. I don't know. For that said, maybe because it was so recent that's a thing that they were implementing, it just wasn't as cohesive as it could have been.
Yeah, well, especially in a set that had the chases of that set, which are the god versions of the Justice League.
Oh yeah, the
to where they're
gods,
super
right?
high powered, heavy dials, and just like okay, well, great. There's this one piece from this set, and it's as powerful as about a third of the other pieces in the set altogether.
And like, it doesn't matter if you outnumber them if you get one shot at each time.
Yeah. It's like, okay, so I'm going to last about 8 turns because they got to hit me twice and then clear, and then hit me twice and then clear, and then hit me twice and then I'm done.
I don't know. That's a team that I feel has been unfortunate. I don't know. But, like, that's not even the team that I want to talk about that I feel was scorned in heroclix.
Yeah, I mean, okay, they did better with their shared trait to where if you have 3 or more, you get stealth. If you have 5 or more, you get improved movement, ignore hindering. And if you have exactly 6 people on your team,
+1 to values.
that particular piece with that, quote unquote secret 6, and I think they also did it for the Sinister Syndicate. in Earth X, they have a similar thing to where Sinister Syndicate, one of them, they have it to where it's the exact same power to where if you're exactly 6, this figure gets +1 to all stats. But if you have 7, if you have 5, you don't get that. It's not a minimum 6, it's exactly 6. So it works with the Secret 6 or the Sinister 6 or some team like that. And I'm like, I liked that to where you can have them all together. If you had all those pieces with that same shared trait, well, great. Now your 6 pieces have +1 to everything. So they're ultimately better for their point value because they are that team.
Only because they're that team.
Only because they're that team and they have that power, which I do like that I have done, I think, where I've had a Secret 6 person and a Sinister 6 person. I think I was playing an animal team and it was Catman and it was the Lizard. And they both had that power. And I was at like 6 characters at the time, so both of them had +1 to their values and the stealth and the ignore hindering for movement.
That's cool. I feel it. I don't know. That's a good way to like fix it, because if you're gonna play that team specifically, you're gonna get those bonuses that you would want if you're playing that team specifically. If you're a fan,
yeah,
you know.
I do like
that's not a thing done in the past for anything. A lot of the time, if there's a sub theme,
not with the figure.
A lot of the time, it's more like, oh, we're gonna point value it good for you, sort of like that, something like that. But you're not necessarily gonna have a whole trade.
Right. It feels now like the shared traits or the shared powers that give that boost remind me a little of the alternate team abilities or additional team abilities that
it kind of
used
is
to have. Yeah, it's like, hey, if you have this theme team, this person with that keyword gets this ability, this power, this stipulation in the game. And I remember the midpoint between it was they had the ATAs printed on the cards for like the hammer keyword.
Yeah,
or Hammer's industry keyword in the Invincible Iron Man set is the ATA was actually on the card. It's like, hey, if you have a Hammer Industries theme team,
oh yeah,
and
you're
you
right,
pay this extra point value for this piece, you get this ability. So that was kind of the midpoint between the separate alternate team abilities, ATAs, and what they have now, where it's like, well, this piece has this, and it could technically work with any team, but if they all had it, if it was all Sinister 6 or Secret 6 or whatever have you for that particular team and their shared thing, like the Captain Marvel movie set has different powers for being Kree. Like they each do a different thing that helps either somebody who's adjacent to them and or somebody who has the Kree keyword regardless of adjacency, but also an additional thing if they're both adjacent and Kree. And each piece does something, and when they're all together, they all help each other. Like, okay, now with my 5 figures, there's 5 things going on all at once because I'm also Kree, or I'm also with this ability. Now he has a ability, and this has an ability, and that has an ability. And even the generics have something similar. I like the generics. One's a range guy, one's a close combat guy. And one gives where you get a bonus to breakaway. And the other one gives the opponent a minus if they're trying to break away.
That's a... I didn't even think about that as a... Because, like, Hammer Industry isn't necessarily, like, a Secret 6 where it's, like, a specific team of characters.
Yeah, it's more a grouping.
So, like, in my head, I didn't even think about that as a possibility.
It just popped into my head. Yeah, it didn't pop into my head for the topic. It popped in when we were on to the ATAs. I'm like, well, that's kind of similar. That's kind of that in between.
Yeah, because, like, I don't know, ATAs they died down a bit.
They've been removed from the official...
they still exist.
They still exist. They're still part of Golden Age, but they're not in any modern form at the moment.
That's really sad because like they were starting to come out with like generic ones and like new ones for like characters. Like I remember the Rogues finally got one, and I was just happy about that because I love playing the Rogues.
There was even, I believe, then a Secret 6 one.
Yes,
I'm pretty sure there was.
There was a few Secret 6 ones.
Yeah,
I remember one. It's kind of like the Ultimate X-Men one, where it's like you pick a target and you get +1 to attacking them.
That sounds right, yeah.
And other ones too, but I can't remember off the top of my head.
No, okay. I remember my favorite combination. My favorite combination when they had ATAs was I would combine the Secret 6 ATA along with the Secret 6 members that also had the Suicide Squad team ability.
Wait, what?
Yes, because one of them is...
Oh, yeah, you did do
One of them is you heal. The other one, when a friendly character also with a team ability is KO'd, but also the other one is when a friendly character is KO'd, adjacent opposing characters like take damage.
Yeah, I remember you blew up.
Yeah, so it's like, okay, this person got KO'd, so they damaged their opponent, but also healed a friendly because I was combining the printed TA and the ATA, and they were active at the same time because they transitioned from being alternate team abilities to where you had this thing on the card instead of what was on the dial, to being additional team abilities where it was both whatever was on the actual click and whatever's on this card if you paid the point value.
I remember you playing. That's like around the time I started playing that you did start doing that.
Yeah, I did that a couple of times with a couple of different team combinations.
And I just remember being confused because I was very new to the game and I didn't understand what was going on really.
Yeah.
And I was just being drunk.
Those were good days.
Yeah. Drunker days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I miss those days.
Of course. But like, okay, so a team that I want to bring up, I'm gonna bring it up.
Eventually.
The new Warriors.
Not the old Warriors?
Shut up.
Not the Warriors 3? Not the Warriors 4?
Okay, technically we could get into the Warriors 3, but no. The new Warriors from Marvel is who I want to talk about.
Okay.
Well, okay, just because New Warriors is always around a little bit, especially because they love making Spider-Man characters, and a lot of Spider-Man characters kind of have New Warriors. There's a good amount.
Yeah, there's a good where that crossover happens, yeah.
They specifically, I would say Scarlet Spider. Both Scarlet Spiders have been New Warriors. They both have the keyword.
Yeah.
And yeah, all these spider events they keep fucking coming up with, like, so they keep making heroclix of Spider-Man, Scarlet Spiders, I mean, with that, which I think is kind of funny. And I just wish there was more cohesion with that. They kind of had,
yeah,
because like the figures have been spread around through different sets. You're not gonna have a sub theme in one set that is New Warriors.
Yeah, I think the closest they came to a New Warriors sub theme was whatever pieces came in the Civil War summer event.
Yeah, because they had
then, yeah, and even then it wasn't a lot, and they didn't all work great together.
Well, yeah, no, it's like. What we got mostly from that set is a new Namorita, because we hadn't had one since Secret Invasion, I think.
I believe so, yeah.
No, it wasn't Secret... let's just say it's Secret Invasion.
It probably was.
I just remember we had that one, and we had 2 from Supernova.
Yes.
It was Richard Rider and Justice. I remember that. Night Thrasher from... Fuck, I don't even remember that old Night Thrasher.
I think that was also Supernova.
Was it? So I guess Supernova was
so.
probably the set that had the most before that even.
Yeah.
But like, I just remember I had all those old figures and I'm trying to play a modern game and you can't really do that. And even now, in modern day, with the new Night Thrasher from Avengers Assemble and Justice from, I assume also from that set.
I believe so, yeah. Oh, that's
that was
right.
a lot
Avengers
of young
Assembled
people.
Had a good theme of like the initiative and yeah. And I think New Warriors were in there as well for a while because I remember getting.
Yeah, because Rage was in it, Turbo was in it.
There was a couple from that set too. That's right. I forgot about that.
I guess that's like we finally got. Well, actually, when Namorita came around, we got the newest version of all the original members.
All in.
No, like it's just like they made ones with carded versions
of those original founding.
Because like technically we need a new, Firestar.
Yes.
Because the only other one is from an LE from the Amazing Friends.
And Amazing Friends.
And then the other one is
Team-based.
from Web of Spider-Man.
Yes.
Which is alright figure, but it's very old.
Yeah.
It just and like, okay, so to make that team work, you need Night Thrasher because he has the special leadership for New Warriors people, but that's kind of the only bonus you get for playing them all together because they're New Warriors. There's not a lot of bonus for playing the new Warriors. There's no ATA. They're not going to make another ATA for that.
Nope.
So there's no way to play them in a realistic, cohesive way.
True.
And maybe never, because I really doubt they're going to make...
I mean, we never know what event might come out to where some or most of the characters are going to be prominent in the story.
That's
so
true.
That now...
They're all alive now.
Yes, so that they could be a small or larger sub-theme. And what they're doing now is they're spreading a sub-theme across a few sets. And I think, for the most part, they're all within one iteration of... like a year of clicks, whatever their cutoff is for what's going to remain modern for around the same
They're getting
rotation out period.
They're getting better at that.
Yeah, like they've shifted a little bit, they've moved it around.
I just feel they used to be really bad at that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was them coming off of, not being a company and then being a company again and then just trying to get product out there and making sure people knew the game was still around and coming back to where for the longest time...
I'm just saying it took years for it to get
pieces
good.
Stayed quote unquote modern. Took them a few years to get good pieces to where, hey, I'm going to invest. If you want to play competitively in a modern setting, your pieces are going to be viable for a longer while than maybe they ever were, and then that didn't last very long. So now I think the rough time period for a set, depending on when it dropped in the year, is between 2.5 to 3.5 years, give or take. I think right now, whatever comes out around August, September is usually around the cutoff for a set for whenever the next rotation of, the year is cut down to now you're golden and now you're going to stay. I think currently, as we're recording this before July 1st, 2019.
Yep, that's the day it's not.
The oldest modern set is the Civil War Summer set. And then...
Really?
Yes, currently, for the next couple of days.
That's weird.
Well, for the next 10 days, I think we're at right now.
It goes by so fast, these rotations to me.
And really, that set is from 2016 summer.
Really?
So it's about 3 years old, I believe.
Don't touch things.
Let me double check. Yes, 2016 is when that set dropped. So that was summer 16. It is now officially the first day of summer 2019. Happy summer solstice.
What?
Yeah. So that set currently is 3 years old. So in a few days when it rotates out, it was in modern for 3 years. And then after that, the newest, oldest set in modern legal is going to be the Elseworld set. So that'll be good for, I think, one more year now.
Really? Just one more year? Oh.
Yeah, so another year of whatever was in Elseworlds.
That's the last time I bought a brick.
Yeah, it's been a while. I need to make you buy more bricks.
Yes, I want.
Oh, well, I'm going to make you buy at least one brick of the X-Men animated series set. Don't worry, it's only like $250 because there's super boosters again.
What?
Yeah, there's going to be colossals, so there's going to be giant figures again. And you're going to spend the most money. But because of when it drops, I believe in like 3 years, it'll be, the last little bit of modern. So it'll last for like 3 years of click time.
Fuck this game sometimes. And this doesn't even help my new Warriors team at all.
No, it doesn't.
Because there are no new Warriors. There's only one.
Yeah, there's only
Marina.
Yeah. So a year of clicks.
She's the only modern click.
Another year of clicks.
See, that's what I'm saying. The game is really bad at that. It takes forever. It took forever for them to be good at making sub themes show up and then finish off in the next set.
Yeah.
Like you assume they would. It took forever for that to happen.
True.
Now it's happening. That's good, but I'm just saying, it's like years.
But
this game is 2 decades old?
Almost. Three more years.
Really?
By the time the X-Men animated set rotates out of modern, it'll be 2 decades old. Yes, I believe it was I know it was 2002. I want to say September is when it officially was. Might have been earlier. Might have been later. 2002. So I think that might wrap up our rant of teams that should be more viable, or teams we wish
Is
were
that
more
how
viable.
we started out?
I think that was our topic.
We had a topic. We're talking about heroclix.
Teams we wish were more viable in the game of clicks.
Is that
had more synergy than they do.
Those are our theme team problems.
Yes, honorable mentions are the Runaways and
Young Justice.
the Warriors 3, which they had nice little things, but it was really just the 3 of them until there were more, and then they kind of like their powers shared with each other, because it was always like, hey, anybody with the Warriors 3 keyword got this thing. So when they did it again in the Fast Force and they did it again in another set, it was like, all right, and then the movie set, and then the other movie set, and like, all right, yeah, no, that works.
Yeah, sure.
So those are our honorable mentions.
And corpse pogs for the Ragnarok set. 'Cause they died.
Yeah, I still never got the.
I'm talking shit because they died.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're fallen warriors.
Spoiler alert.
So that Chase Hella with her fallen warrior tokens that we never got official physical ones. And
Where was
just
Sif during? Okay, no, we're gonna end this fucking thing.
Officially, she was off planet.
No, we're done. Good
She's
night,
alive
y'all.
somewhere.
Good night, yo.
She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Thank you for listening to Theme Team Problems. Bye.
This has been Chad and Randy.
This has been Chad and Randy. We have an Instagram. We have a YouTube. We're just plugging it at the end.
Enjoy.
All right, bye.